Got a lot of requests asking me for more tips and tricks for beginners who want to start designing or drawing on Procreate. Either you don't draw and you want to start, or you just got Procreate and you're a little lost on things. I welcome you all. I'm not going to show every single tip and trick there is in the book because I am also not a pro at this. I just use whatever I think works best for me and has been making things easier. Okay, I've got my tablet. Let's start off with what I use. I use a regular iPad. I think this is the 10th generation. I'm not sure. And then I use the 1st generation Apple Pencil. Everything that I use will be linked below if you don't have one yet or you want to use what I use. Let's open up ProCreate. The first thing I will say is most of the time when I start design, I start with shapes. So I'll use a regular sketching pencil. It doesn't really matter, I guess. I just use whichever. Let's use a ProCreate pencil. And I make it a really bright color. So bright blue, bright yellow, bright pink. Because since this is a sketch, it'll be messy. And then after you finish your sketch, you trace over that to create your clean lines. Okay, what should we make today? We can make a donut, I guess. You can easily create a circle, but I'm just gonna show you. So do a little sketch here, and do another big sketch here. And maybe I'll have like little drips or something, I don't know. My little donut sketch. One thing I recommend, and I always make sure I do, is to create a new layer up here. If you have a sketch and you are going to start creating your clean lines on top, add that to a new layer, because let's say you go in to make your clean lines on top of the design. My personal go-to for creating my lines are the Studio Pen. All of the brushes I use are within Procreate. I know you can purchase brush sets from other artists that they make. However, I don't do that. I just use whatever is available to me. And let's trace over this. Imagine that's a clean line. As you can see from here, the black line that we just drew is on the same layer as the sketch. If we try to erase the purple that we don't want, it'll erase the black as well, and you don't want that. We have it on a separate layer than the sketch. You can trace this and then go back to your sketch layer and erase the background, and the black line will stay. That's why I like to keep layers, because if you ever mess up on one part, it won't mess up the rest. When I create my clean outlines, I like to make sure that my stabilization is on. To do so, you click on this little tool right here, go to Prefs. Down here to Pressure and Smoothing, you want to click on that and drag stabilization to at least 50%. Some of these brushes, such as the inking as well as calligraphy one, already have stabilization on in the brush settings. When you draw, you'll see it creates this very smooth line, and it's not hard to create your shapes. One thing I like about Procreate is if you ever want to draw an oval or a circle, you just hold your pen down after drawing your line, and it should create a nice clean circle or rectangle or oval or whatever shape it is you want by itself. Start here, draw a circle, hold your pen down, and boom, it makes a nice little circle for you. Sometimes it gives you a drop down option up here. If you wanted an ellipse, you keep it. However, if it's not a circle and you want it to be a circle, you click on circle and it creates a circle for you. Like this, hold it down, click on circle, and just center it. Another tip that I have for beginners is if you ever accidentally make a mark like this, you don't want to spend time using that eraser and erasing it manually, just tap 2 fingers onto the screen and it undoes it for you. Accidentally drew that line, tap with 2 fingers, and it's gone. However, if you accidentally undo that, you didn't mean to erase what you've done, you tap on the screen with 3 fingers. So it brings it back, 2 fingers, takes it away, 3 fingers, brings it back. Now we'll draw our little drips. Lines. Cute, we have our little donut drip. Isn't that adorable? If you are satisfied with your outline, you can go ahead and get rid of your sketch layer. When you put your layers up and you swipe the layer to the left, it gives you options. You can lock it in place, you can duplicate it to create a copy of it, and you can delete it. We'll do like a tan maybe. Now I'm going to show you 3 ways to fill in an area you want within your outline. The first way is to click on this thing up here, right here. At the bottom, make sure it says automatic and click the section you want to fill in. You see how it selects within the black border? You don't want there to be any gaps within your outline. Even if there's a tiny gap right here, it will select this entire thing. Imagine if this is like water in a bowl. If you have water in here and there's no cracks, it doesn't leak. However, if there's a crack, it will go in through here. Hopefully that helps. I'm not really good with explaining certain things. Once you have made your selection, click on color fill and it should fill it up for you. Another method is to just turn color fill off, select it, pick your paintbrush at the top, and then color it in yourself. The third method that I like to use is to just drag the color and drop it where you want it. Put your Apple Pencil on the little color thing, drag it, drop it. Do that for the icing. We'll make the icing pink. Drag it, drop it. Let me give you an example of what I mean by even if there's a tiny little crack within your lines, it will overfill to the other place. Thing here. You see how in this line, there's this part that isn't connected? If I try to drop this into this area, it fills the entire thing. Even if I go like this, the color fill thing, it fills the entire thing. Once we connect it and close that little crack, once we close it up, it keeps it contained. Boom. You can also remove the background by clicking on this check mark next to background color. Turn it off. On, off, on. Let's get to shading. For shading, I'm going to go ahead and turn stabilization off. I only use stabilization if I want to create smooth lines with anything. All the way off. I shade. I click on that little tool we used earlier. Click on automatic and select the section that I want to shade in for the shadows. Go to brush for shading under spray paints and I use the ultra fine nozzle. I want my paint color up here to match what I am shading in so that I can drag it and then make it a darker or lighter color. The first way you can do this is to hold your finger down and the color tool pops up. Can you see that right here? And if I hold it down to the pink, it'll select the pink. So keep an eye out on that and see how it changes. See? I'm gonna hold this down. Second method is there is this little square right here. You tap that once and this pops up. You can drag it so it chooses the color and matches it for you. These shadows, I'll make this darker. So I'll move this to the reds and just make it a little darker. When creating shadows, you want to keep in mind where your light source is coming from. Most of the time, my light source is coming from here. So imagine there's a lamp here. Your shadows will be on this side. See how that looks? Nice little shadows. That's kind of, I mean, that's okay. See that? I'm not going to make it perfect since this is a quick tutorial. I like to go back with the original color to blend it in more. So you see how this shading is kind of harsh? I just go over it with the original color and it should blend it out for me. Yep. And you go back and forth until you are satisfied. We've done the dough part. Now we'll do the icing. Again, click on this, select the pink. Now you have that selected. Click on your brush. We're going to pick up that pink color so we match it. And then make it a little bit darker. And make our shadow. Since we did the shadow for these base colors, I like to add highlights. So since the light is coming from this side will be lighter. See that? To give it that nice glowy look. Another method you can use to shade an area in without using a brush is to click on the selection tool again, select the area you want. This time we'll go back to our studio pen and put it all the way up. Turn stabilization on. Anytime I have to make lines, I like to turn stabilization on to help. We'll do it here, probably do it here. Here. And then here. After you did that, make sure your selection is still on. Click on the effects thing and go down to Gaussian blur. Move this to the right. So you hold it down, move it to the right, and you can see how it blurs the colors together. Now you can do it like this if you want to. It's just another method of creating shadows and stuff, but I personally don't like it. But I like doing it by hand. Make some sprinkles and add them to the donut. Here is the final result. Hopefully this helped some of you out there who are trying to make designs. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to comment them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Bye.